Put the microphone on and get a light turned on over here. It's been a long day, folks. I'm tired. I am tired. Probably an understatement, actually. Yeah, I'm tired. How's that? Let me go over here and turn on these lights. There. And this one. Oh my gosh, y'all. So I hope you've had a good day, everyone. It's been a long day for me. I got up this morning, had to actually I was summoned to the living room by the alarm, my health alert alarm, to help get mom off the floor. She had slipped down from her chair onto the floor this morning, and I had to pick her up. And brother can't do it, so it was just brute strength straight up. And there's not much of that left in me because I'm having to go so far down. And oh my gosh, it's really tough to do. And so got that taken care of, got her medicines, meds, and all that kind of stuff taken care of, got her situated back in the chair, then took care of that. And if I haven't told you yet, this is Cassandra Williamson. I'm coming out of Mud Lick Road, like out of Compton. I'm out of Mud Lick. Got to have some fun with something, right? Y'all been following all this stuff over on X with Elon Musk? My gosh, they're going after libs of TikTok and all these influencers over there on the right hand side of the extremist bunch. They're all going after Netflix over a show that portrayed a trans kid, a cartoon. But now they're going after everything else, everything that has LGBT people in it and trans people in it, and any kind of portrayal of them, including the show Sense8. I don't know if you've ever watched the show Sense8. It came out back when in the late teens, the 2018 or somewhere around there. And there were several episodes, it was several long episodes of it. It was really good. I watched that thing. Oh my God, it was just gut wrenching, and you had tears of joy, tears of pain watching that thing. It was powerful. Sense8. But it's also, if you're a little bit squeamish about portrayals of sex, that's Sense8 is not the one you want to be watching. And you sure don't want your kids around it. I'll tell you that right now. You don't want your kids around Sense8. But I'm going to tell you, they're going after because it had representation of trans people, and one of the main actors was a trans person, and she's really good, played a really good role in this thing. And yet we have Musk and all these people going after that. And if you're on my email list, you just received an email from me that talks a little bit about that. And it comes out. I put it in the current vernacular using, like I'm talking now to you. But there's also one that is beside it that's in Hillbilly. I had the whole thing translated into Hillbilly, and yeah, AI can do that. Because it's got, people say, why? And it's because it's funny. One, I can do it. I'm from here. that's the that's one thing. And another thing is it has access to all kinds of information that is just so useful, and millions and millions and millions of records and pages of information that no one human will ever be able to grasp and go through and look at in such a quick and fast method and way. Large language models, they're getting, at some point, they are working on making them more sentient. And that's, most people are probably looking at, why would you do that? Well, look, it doesn't bother me in the least. Doesn't bother me in the least. You're not going to be able to stop it anyway. You can cry and complain and fuss about it and try to regulate it here and there, but you are not going to stop it. You want to know why? Anytime there is a war, then the things that we have the most capabilities from, the most information from, the highest and best technologies and most effective technologies will be used. You will not be able to stop these things. Their rapid acceleration towards gaining more and more knowledge, and not just knowledge, but the ability to interpret that knowledge and read it and understand it, and then to convey it back and do so in a way that is representative of us as humans. Talk to us and with us and hear us. That's coming whether you want it to or not, whether you feel good about it or not. That's just the facts of life. You will not be able to stop it. The genie is out of the bottle. It's been out of the bottle for a long time. That progression is inevitable. You're not going to stop it. But anyway, so Elon Musk is going after all these trans characters on Netflix and calling for boycotts and and unsubscribing from all the Netflix services. I don't know what's the. Let's see if there's something that can show me what the stock prices for this has been today. Let me go over here to another um, window, another screen, and let's see stock price for Netflix today. I just want to see the stock price movement. Okay, single stock, Netflix. Now let's see what happened. Arrows and arrow on that page. All righty, maybe the thing fell apart. Buy Netflix stock. Netflix stock market summary for Netflix. Let me just share this screen. I'll just show you what has happened today. Ever since they started this big boycott and getting themselves away from subscribing, getting out of their contracts, everything like that. So this is what I'm seeing right now. So let's take a look at the stock value for Netflix. You ready? Increase the page size. All right, what you're looking at is this is Netflix Inc. This morning to today, to close the business today, it dropped 8.37%. But look, it actually went back up. It was down really low. It dropped way down around 10 a.m. And that was 10:30, somewhere around there. What was that? 10:20 a.m. this morning. It had dropped all the way down to there. And that was probably the peak of the time when Musk and all of his buddies with Libs of TikTok and Laura Loomer and all of that bunch out there, the wackadoodles on that side who get butthurt about having diversity expressed and shown to the entire country and who don't like families who don't look like theirs. Except that Elon Musk, I think we all know why Elon Musk is doing this, don't you? Do you know why Elon Musk is really going after the trans community? Does anyone know? You want to know? Because he can't stand the fact that his trans daughter actually lives a happy life. He blames everybody for the fact that she is trans. And there's no one to blame. She simply is trans. It's not an ideology that she's fallen for. It's not any of those things. It's the fact that she's trans. And whatever her journey looks like to become herself and to continue becoming herself, it's not an end game. It's not a stopping point at all. It's a journey along the way of finding out who you are. People do that. That's how it works. It's always worked that way. Those who get stuck in the mud somewhere along the line end up in a pine box under the ground about 6 feet down. And not because of any violence, because they finally die out. Now, look, Elon Musk and I can agree on a lot of things. And I have mentioned this to him. He's not yet spoken to me in any way, but I've mentioned this to him. And it doesn't mean squat because, whatever. But I happen to agree with him that we do need to have a human presence, permanent presence on the moon and a permanent presence on Mars, and eventually a permanent presence on Europa and places like that in the solar system. We need to be diversified for a number of reasons. One, that increases our ability to develop new sciences and new technologies that can help us resolve problems we may have right here on this planet, and hopefully make it more sustainable over a period of time. It's the science and technologies that are going to get through this. All the fussing over this and fussing over that ideology and all that kind of stuff, that's not what's going to solve the problem. Solve all the challenges we face, from food and hunger, from needing technological advances to sustain a population that is increasing dramatically, quickly, all around the globe. And if we start going out to other locations, we're going to do the same thing. It's going to blow up on there. So at least we have a chance of survival beyond just, one little blue dot in the sky. So I happen to agree with Musk on most things completely. I've known that for a long time. I even wrote a very lengthy dissertation on it and actually put a presentation together talking about that. And this was a decade ago or more, saying that we needed by 2050, if I'm not mistaken, that's what I said. By 2050, we need a population on the moon of about 50,000, a city about 50,000 people. I don't know if I used 50,000 or 100. It may have been 50, but and I think he's working toward that goal, which is fine. We need that because that gives us a base for advancement in knowledge and science and technologies that can help us here on Earth better take care of the people who are here, to advance things in science and medicine and all of those things. It will increase our ability to do all those things. It pushes us to the next frontier. Might not like it. People might think you got to solve problems here. You're never going to solve all the problems here. So what do you do? Well, you continue to move forward. You put one foot in front of the other. You take on the next adventure, the next challenge, the next place to colonize if you have to. Whatever you've got to do that, because that's what inspires the human spirit, folks. That's what drives and motivates these things. People aren't motivated by things they can't see. The big things that they see in front of them, the one big thing that pulled America together and actually inspired us to be something even better was the Panama Canal. When we acquired that from the French, it gave us something to show the world that we were actually capable of doing big things successfully. What was the next big thing that came along that we did, even though it caused a lot of death and destruction? But the next big thing that came along after that, well, it was the atomic bombs, the atomic bomb program. We devoted energy and effort and science and technologies and thought processes and power of mind and creativity to developing nuclear energy, atomic energy. We turned it into a weapon, and everything we do has that potential. But we did that, and then we obliterated a bunch of people, and should never have done that. But it actually saved lives though in the long run. But still, you don't want to tell people that kind of thing because there were still hundreds of thousands of people who lost their lives, and to them and their families, it doesn't matter what other possibilities might exist. Okay. So we know all that kind of thing, but we're going to develop those technologies anyway. So that was the next big project that required a massive effort of pouring scientific knowledge and math, improving our sciences, improving our technology, improving our measurement capabilities, improving our metals refinement capabilities. It came out of that, our abilities to compute things and calculate things at faster and faster rates. It came out of World War II. It came out of the atomic bomb programs. It came out of the efforts of Alan Turing with his ability for automation technologies and science and math and code breaking, because he's the one, Alan Turing, the gay man who actually broke the Enigma code that actually helped us end the Second World War. The person you never really talk about too much, because he did have to go through all that electroshock therapy because he was gay, and they just thought they could cure him. That conversion therapy crap, it's just that. It's crap. We know that. It needs to be banned all across this darn country. Conversion therapy causes more harm. And an extreme version of it was electroshock therapy. And another extreme version was lobotomizing people because they were gay. And even prior to that, we institutionalized people because they were left-handed. Yeah, we would send them to the principal's office. You're left-handed? No, only the righteous sit at the right hand of God. And it was taken literally. If you're left-handed, you're going to get the crap smacked out of you for using your left hand. And if you're gay, we're going to lobotomize you. And if you're left-handed, and you can't fix it, and you won't stop using your left hand, we're going to put you in an insane asylum because that's not God's work. Yes, we did that stuff, folks. We did that stuff. And we're trying to do it again today with trans people. You have calls for institutionalization of trans people, rounding up, taking away their ability to communicate, institutionalizing them, and applying conversion therapy to them back to I don't know how many times I've seen things like this. They want to reopen all the insane asylums and fill them back up by starting to put trans people in them. Yeah, I'm sharing a screen and talking. Okay, so anyway, let me stop sharing a screen. So anyway, with the Netflix thing, it did rebound through the day, but it's still overall over the day, it's 8.37 points down from the starting point. So from the low of the day, I mean, or from the high of the day, I should say. So anyway, it's like they're out to get you. They're out to get us and put us in a padded cell and lock us all away. You know, he ha ha he ha ha ha. Yeah. So we need to be able to have things around the solar system that actually help us advance science and technologies to benefit life here on Earth. Yes, it will work that way. It always does. Fear not. Fear not. The only thing we have to fear is Elon Musk when he goes after trans people because he can't stand his trans daughter. And all this stuff you hear from Elon and everything that he keeps pushing out there, going after Netflix and any other thing that has to do with talking about LGBT or trans people, and he calls it a serious threat to Western civilization and all of that kind of thing. No, what he means was he was so butthurt that he had a trans daughter that he just has to go after everybody who is trans and just show her that he is the master of the world. That's what it is. Yep. Might be the wealthiest man in the world, and he may have some good ideas, but he's also got some really horribly stupid ones. Elon. Yep, sure does. And then everybody just falls right in line. Once it comes out from the lips of TikTok and Elon Musk and all that, what you end up with is a major corporation having its stock price destroyed during that day because of because of their ideology, because of their ideologically driven positions. They claim here's the penultimate, here's the maximum craziness associated with this. They claim trans ideology. They say trans ideology this and transgenderism this. Look, ism means an ideology, but ideology on any of that kind of stuff. Well, first off, trans people are not an ideology. I don't give a flying F what you think about it. We aren't an ideology. We have ideological views. We sure do. But trans is not one of them. Trans is an identity that's tied to our gender. And we know the distinctions between our gender expression, gender identity, anatomical expression, sex expression, and genetics and chromosomal sex. And I'll be the first to tell you and anyone else, I know that my chromosomal sex is XY male. Genetically, XY male. How do I know that with such certainty? Well, I have a son, and where do you think he got his Y chromosome from? Me. I'm glad of that. I'm happy. Very thrilled about that. I love my son. I love my son. Come on now, folks. You'd have to be ignorant to claim that you're totally female because you just want to be. No, it's not a wannabe thing. That's the thing. Gender actually arises from the hormonal flooding of the brain in utero. That hormonal flooding of the brain does not always match or align with the anatomical expression of your genetic sex in the first and second trimesters, and then the hormonal flooding that occurs towards the end of the second trimester. So no matter what you want to say, our gender arises as a function, as a foundation from that flooding that occurred of the brain in utero. And it's from there that we have our gender identity and all of this stuff that's shaped by external factors. And we say it's a feeling. People say it's just a feeling, that gender stuff and all that. It's just a feeling because you feel like you want to be this. Well, it's underpinned by a little bit of biological reality. We know it. We've known it. It's been known in the science community for a long time. And it's not woke science, it's just pure science, period. Science simply is a process of evaluating the world around us and coming up with some hypotheses to see whether or not we can come up with maybe a theory later on. But a theory is not a guess. A scientific theory is by no means a guess. It's something that's built upon a lot of research, a lot of data, a lot of other things that supported and underpinned it going in that direction. And science also has the ability to say, wait a minute, let's improve this just a little bit, change it slightly. So we learn more along the way. We're not 100% certain of anything. Anyone who tells you they are 100% certain of this, or that, they don't know the first thing about science, and they don't know the first thing about biology or about being transgender or about being anything really, because there are no absolutes. And I don't want to hear about your biblical views. That's your ideology. You can leave that at the door when we have that conversation. And yes, it is an ideology because it's something you have to decide to believe and decide to accept. Whereas who I am, I know that my gender identity is female, and I know that my anatomical sex is female, and I happen to know that my chromosomal sex is male. So people like to go off on the left end here, this biological determinism and all this kind of stuff and absolutism. No, there is no such thing as absolutism in science. There's not. There's nothing like that in the entire world. There's no absolute. There are no absolutes in science. Somebody who tries to convince you that it's only X, Y, and that it's only male and female, and that sex and gender are synonymous terms, they don't know what they're talking about. The two terms are related, but they are not synonymous. Now, for most of society, they are synonymous. For most of humanity, they are synonymous. Most people don't have a problem that separates and has drawn a barrier between their gender expression, their gender identity, and their anatomical sex, and their genetics, and their chromosomal sex. I mean, those are all lined up for most people. And society is built upon that. That is absolutely true. Societies are built upon those things. But for a society to say rigidly that anything beyond what this binary is wrong, everything beyond that is wrong, well, no, that's an absolute thing. Again, they're wrong about that. They went off the deep end. Everything in this world has, well, I call it, I wrote a paper a long time ago. My God, what was it? It's been more than a decade, maybe 2 decades ago, maybe 15 years, something like that. I don't remember exactly when, but I discuss this fuzziness, this probability cloud that's around everything in this world, around the X chromosome. That there's a fuzziness around it that makes it less than just a solid decision tree, one point, and it's fuzzy. There's a probability cloud around it, how it expresses, how it gets captivated, how it gets brought into the other half of that genetic code. Anyway, I went way off the deep end here. I've got into the science and the wonky end of it, and I have a tendency to do that. I can get really academic in a hurry, and all I am is just somebody up in the holler in Mud Lick. You can believe that if you like to, if you want. But yeah, I've been dealing with these things over on X and people sending me emails about it. And I asked for people to do that. But you know what's crazy? You know what's really crazy? I asked for people who do not agree with me on things to come on and let's talk about it. What I want to talk about mostly is how we can get through this period where it seems as if the entire world is out to destroy LGBT people in the entire world, and trans people, trying to drive them out of society, trying to drive them out of the public square for no good reason, to blame these people for everything. You remember back in the early 2000s when hurricanes would sweep through and you had all the hurricanes down on the Gulf Coast in the United States? What did you hear people like Pat Robertson say? And Jerry Falwell at Liberty University, what did they say? Remember? I do. It's because America has got some gay people in it. Westboro Baptist Church would have told you that, and they still do. You're seeing so many people lose their lives and all these bad things and calamities occur because you've got gay people here. No, no, that is not what it is, folks. That's just the most ignorant thing you could be saying. That is just a height of stupidity. And I don't want to hear you try to use a circular argument out of some text, religious text. Don't you dare come at me with the Quran and try to tell me that what you read in there was representative of the world around us. Don't come at me with some Assyrian text somewhere that talks about, I don't know, a big flood and Gilgamesh wiping out the world, starting over. No, no. And especially, oh my God, the people out at the Ark Encounter here in Kentucky. Oh my God, I just so just it is so depressing to see people be that dumb. If you believe that, that's fine. Go for it, whatever. But don't come at me and try to convince me that the world is 6,000 years old. And don't come at me and try to tell me that, you know, it's all by intelligent design. I know the science, I know the statistics, I know the probability theories, I know how this stuff works, I know what it's all like. I've written on this kind of thing before. I know the fuzziness, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle that creates that's cloud of fuzziness, that cloud of probability around every event, whether it is quantum or not, really. If it's quantum, it's a little bit bigger, the cloud around it. But if it's not quantum, if it's in the present actual macro world, then that cloudiness is pretty close to the same thing. But it's close. It's still there, though. That's the thing. That doesn't go away. It just shrinks. Anyway, it's baffling to me. I don't want to hear about all that crap. If you're going to try to tell me that it just suddenly appeared and that the woman was created out of the rib of a man, I've got some freaking news for you. You're not going to pay any attention to it. That's the thing. You're not going to believe me, and I don't care. But if you want to come on here on this show, on this live show, and talk with me about different points of view and different things, I'm more than welcome those points of view. I'll talk with you about your religious views. I'll talk about the origin of religions if you want. I know a lot. I don't know it all. I don't know it all on the origins of it, but don't tell me that it was just some miraculously published thing. No, it was published by and edited by and reviewed by human beings. And you're going to say they were inspired. No. There have been some really good inspired things out there that have been produced. For instance, I like Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. That was really beautifully inspired, wasn't it? It was huge, beautiful work. Yeah, it's a Russian, but whatever. It's a Russian. Yeah, but still, it was good music. I think it was from about 1812 or something. Yeah, well, it was 1812 Overture. Oh my gosh. And then Dvorak. Oh my gosh, Dvorak is another one. I absolutely love the beauty of that music. Yeah, Four Seasons, and it's just beautifully done. The whole story that's in that music is just amazing to me. I love the story of Plato's Cave. Y'all know what? Most of you have heard it, but you probably haven't heard it. You know of it, but have you ever read it? I encourage one Christmas. I got some nice, decent copies of that thing. I got it as a Christmas present for all four of my kids. They weren't impressed. I was hoping they would read the thing. They were not impressed with that story of Plato's Cave. It's a really simple, straightforward story. Oh my God. So, yeah, the story basically, if you're not familiar, you should be familiar with this thing. You should be reading broadly, especially things you don't approve of. You're going, I don't approve of. Why would I want to waste my time on it? Because you will learn how other people think. You will not be a stick in the mud and stuck in an echo chamber. Get your head out of the echo chamber and out of the sand and look at the world around you and listen with both ears, with your mouth closed, because you're likely to learn something that you didn't know yesterday. As a matter of fact, that's really the only way you will learn something you didn't know yesterday, is to listen with purpose, with your ears open, your eyes open, and then the mouth closed. Because you don't know it all. I know I don't know it all. So read broadly, read things from other cultures. Don't be afraid to entertain the possibility that someone else may know something more than you in any particular field. Go look at it, study it, be a student of the things that you don't like. But not just that, enjoy your lives. And if anybody does want to come on my show and talk, that's been one of the biggest things that I've always wanted and always pursued and always tried to do, and nearly everything I've ever done. If you have another perspective, I want to hear from you. If we can talk to each other in an intelligent way without denigrating each other and without trying to bully each other, which Kirk did all the time, if we can talk to each other and hear each other and entertain the possibility that they may know something that's important that you need to hear, you don't have to believe everything that they say. You don't even have to go into it that way, but you at least have to be able to hear them, give them the opportunity to speak their piece from their perspective. And that's fine. I have no issue with that. If you want to come on this show and do it, I would love to have people on here who want to do that, who want to talk about their thing, way of doing things in their world. Whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, I prefer the people who disagree, because if you surround yourself all the time with only those people who agree with you, then guess what you've got? You've got an echo chamber that is so closed off that you can't even see the beauty of the world outside of it. So, how did I get there? I don't know. This is out of Mudlick Road, after all, right? I mean, I start off up in here with a kind of a Cracker Barrel porch. This is my brother's home here, a Cracker Barrel porch, and you got those rockers out there on the porch, rocking chairs. You can sit there and rock, and we can have people come over, and Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi, and JD Cousin Vance, and all those people. They can come out here and just sit on the porch with us and have a chat and talk. I mean, if you want to fly in on the Black Hawk, please do. I mean, I don't bite, but just know that this coming week, though, we are starting a program. Starts 7 a.m. Monday morning on Trans Terrorists, a training session, a week-long training session. One of the first things you'll learn how to do is to take some medical evaluations and diagnose people to see if they need a shot in the morning for their insulin, and if they need to get a blood pressure pill or not, and then evaluating that, determining what the breakfast should be that they need to have, and whether or not how much they need to have of it, and kind of measuring these things out, making a list of things we need to go to, make material runs to restock our supplies in the trans terrorist training camp, and then got to make sure that the bed linen is done. And we're going to talk all about how to do all that. And one of these days next week, I'm also going to be showing people how to make my mom's absolutely decadent and absolutely tasty apple stack cake. It's her recipe. She didn't find it from someone else. It's not made like anyone else makes their apple stack cake. And it's just, not only is it a cosmetic beauty, but a cosmetic thing. It looks good. It's gorgeous the way it's laid and layered and all of that. And fresh apples. Oh my God, it's just delicious. And then one day we're going to do Irma's Burger. That's my sister. And that requires a lot of interpretive skills because you have to go in and listen very closely to what she wants. And you have to learn how to do it. And it requires you shutting your darn mouth and listening. And she can't hear real well. So you kind of have to talk a little bit more forcefully or loud. But you get it across, and she lets you know whether or not she wants the hamburger meat with cheese or onion and mayo on there, or whether the bread is toasted, and those are the things. But she's nonverbal, but can say some things. I think it's a mechanical dysfunction between the brain and her throat to be able to communicate clearly. But she knows what she wants to say, and she has it in her head, and she can speak it clearly in her head. I know it because she listens to the TV and has all kinds of fun with that, and she understands our communications all the time. She very can understand it all. She just can't communicate it back. And she's also physically disabled too. And then you got to check on everything else, make sure people are good. I mean, that's this whole training session next week is going to be a lot of different things for all of us to learn. So one of them will be we'll have a social event out on the porch on Saturday night, I believe. It's virtual most likely, and nobody will show up. I don't know, but I'm going to do it and make it live online anyway as a live event. But we're going to have we'll be out there and we'll have some sweet tea and maybe even roast some marshmallows out in a little pit fire or something like that. And we can sit out there and we can do all the bless your hearts that we want with Pam Bondi and Cash Patel and Dan Bongino and Tom Holman. Got to put him in there. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. By the way, before we get out of here, I do have this to say too. I did go out today. Mom did fall this morning, so I went out and bought a device that helps pick her up off the floor. It's low on the floor, and you can get her over onto it. It'll help pick her up because I'm going to Florida tomorrow night to see my dear friend down there who's in an extended stay facility at the VA in Lake City. So I'm going down to check on her. She wants me to come down and see her. But I have to make sure that the people here in this household are taken care of. That people will be here. My sister Edna will be here. My niece Brittany will be here. There'll be others in and out all the time, I'm sure. Mom requires a lot of constant attention, and the other two not so much, but they still have to have food. Everybody else, you know. So there's the big thing. So it's going to be a long day tomorrow of me prepping and getting ready. I'll try to come back tomorrow at noon Eastern time and kind of step into all this. But if anyone out there, I'm serious about this when I tell you this, if you want to join me on this show on a live program, you're not afraid of showing yourself to the world and stand behind what it is you say that you believe in, but yet you disagree with my right to exist, I want to talk with you. I want to bring you in here and show this. Do you have the guts to face the world and admit all those things that you believe and talk with them and then talk with me and debate about that in a rational, logical, respectful way? Is it possible for you to do that? Very few will ever do that. Very few will ever take me up on it. I've been asking and asking and asking, and the ones who do take me up on it are we may disagree on a few minor points, but overall we're in agreement on nearly everything. But I want people to come on here who disagree with me, who don't think I have a right to live in this country for which I served. Send me an email. It's right there on the screen, admin@cassandra-llc.com. That's the only way we're going to survive, people, on either side of this. I can be wrong. This is the question I'm starting to ask people. Whenever they say that this is the way it is, they go, there's only this and only that. And I say, are you 100% sure of that? If they come back to me and suggest in any way that they are absolutely 100% convinced that that's the only thing, that's the only way, then I really don't want to waste my time on that one because those people are so stuck in that they can't think beyond it. They're stuck. But it's the people who have, no, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm willing to entertain this and think it through with you. Those people would be good to have a conversation with. The rest of them are just shouting into the wind. Anyway, y'all have a good evening. I'm going to try to get some rest this evening. I did send out an email earlier to everyone. I hope you got it. Hope you enjoy it. Spread this stuff around. Bring more people in. Let's have conversations, okay? I can talk all day long. As you can tell, I said I was going to stop on this conversation 15 minutes ago. I'm still going.